Yeah, so one question we could talk about a little bit today is like methods of Argo installation. So there's a couple different ways of installing Argo workflows. The first is using the quick starts and just running a quick kube control apply. There's also kind of building out your own YAML, and then the next is a like Helm installation, all of which can be managed with Argo CD. Um, do, I'll ask the crowd. Do y'all have any strong opinions on which steps would be the best way of installing Argo workflows and managing the installation?
Should we
It's
let
so funny.
Jonas go first?
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, I'll let you
No,
go first, and then we can tell you if you're right or wrong.
no, I was just saying it's so funny because it's literally the only thing I did this week is to see if I just do a complete new setup. If you guys remember, I wanted to update last week, and I thought if I do a completely separate setup, and one of the questions I noted down like to find out is like different ways of installing Argo. So I feel like JP was watching my notes. That's crazy. So I'm excited to hear that. Please, guys.
That's a cop-out answer. I mean, so there's two types of official manifests. There's the things that you call the quick start. There is a thing in the directory called quick starts, which I would avoid at all costs.
Okay.
They default to latest, and latest is like bleeding edge, not released, probably won't work kind of levels
Or
of
might
fun.
work today and break tomorrow when your pod restarts.
Yeah, so don't do that. But I mean, we use the official manifests, so the manifests that are released with a release, they're in the actual kind of README section of each release. They are properly versioned and all that kind of stuff. So we use them, but we use customize with a K over the top to map, to patch in any changes or stuff like that we want to add on to it. But for a long time, that was the official way to do it. The Helm chart exists and has existed for a while and was officially a community supported Helm chart until I think it was November last year. I think it officially got promoted. So now that is a completely viable option as well. So it depends really at this stage if you prefer Helm stuff to customized stuff. There's nothing really in it other than that. If you don't understand Helm, there's no point learning Helm just for the sake of doing this. And if you don't understand customized, the same thing stands really.
The quick starts are actually built via customize from a bunch of YAML in the repository. So again, you can go into the repo and see those in order to get an idea of how you can customize if you're not used to customize, or you can build from those if you really feel weird about things.
I would say the docs in general are written as if you are installing through customize. So an example is single sign-on. So single sign-on, if you want to add that to your customization, the documentation kind of talks you about how to patch that change into your YAML. It doesn't, unless that's changed recently, it doesn't document what magic words to put in your Helm values file to set that up. So, but again, I mean, it's reasonably intuitive to work out, by which I mean by looking at the Helm chart values file, it's intuitive to work out how to enable SSO, but there won't be a nice step-by-step guide in the documentation that tells you exactly what things to do. Just depends how much fun you want to have.
All the fun. Nice. Okay, no, that's actually a very good question. So I know I took some notes. I have to look more into it. I don't want to waste your time on something I'm not well informed on. So maybe next week or in 2 weeks I have something, but I will probably. I'm quite familiar with Helm, so I think this would be the better option for me right now. But I also for a long time I was looking at customize and always like, yeah, I learned it eventually, but never learned it. So it would be maybe also a good time to learn it, but we'll see.
It's quite a good product to learn it with, because actually installing workflows out of the box, it will work.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you need anything. The official manifests don't come with an ingress. That's probably the big thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you know how to write an ingress, then you probably know how to put that into a customization file.
Yeah.
And if you get, as I said, if you look in the source code under, there's some manifests under E2E tests, and there's some under the quick start area that are composing up all the different types of other sort of complete manifests, which are not bad examples for customizing stuff.
Makes sense. Cool.
Would it be helpful if we walk through like an installation of Argo Workflows?
I guess
We actually
hard to
have
say
one
no.
you can copy. I'll find it in a minute if I remember the words. So we have an example out here in the wild. I'll share. That uses, I'm pretty sure it uses customize. Just gonna double check my
we-
own work.
Get you to share your screen.
I can share it,
Tim, and
yeah.
walk through it.
I won't run through it because Docker is not running on my local machine for reasons.
All good.
But I'll show you the code. You can see that.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is actually a bigger example that just runs a basic CI in workflows. But basically, you can clone the repo locally, run a magic script, and it installs everything for you and sets it all up for you. But the magic script is essentially using Argo CD to deploy all these things. So it's a good example of using Argo CD to deploy Argo workflows. And then the workflows bit of the setup is this directory here with a simple customization file. That's the official manifest I was talking about.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just patching stuff in and tweaking stuff. So we're adding these additional files. As I say, it doesn't come with an ingress. So we add an ingress, we add a couple of role bindings and a secret, and then we patch these existing files with changes. So the controller config map has some stuff in it that we want to, merge into the one that you get by default, essentially. And that's it. You could take this directory and do a kubectl apply -k, and it would install. Or, as I say, here we use Argo CD. So there's an Argo CD application somewhere. Here it is. That will take that file and we'll deploy it in the Argo CD way. Now, if you're not using Argo CD at the moment, this is probably quite an extreme change to make just to install one application. But if
we do. That's actually also how I had it installed right now.
Cool. There you go.
By creating an Argo CD application. Yeah.
Cool. So feel free to take this repo and rip it apart and use it as inspiration.
Cool.
Should at least get you up and running.
Yeah.
And it's up to date. It automatically gets updated, so it should be the latest version. Yeah.
Good stuff. Great. Thanks so much for sharing.
All good. I'm now stuck in this window.
What do you use to keep it up to date, Tim?
We use a tool called Renovate. I don't know if you use it, Jonas.
Renovate?
Yeah.
No, never heard of it.
I'll get you a link.
Nice. Good.
So you can it's very powerful. You can run it as a GitHub action if you use GitHub. We run it as just Argo Workflows. We use it as cron workflows. It runs every hour or so, and you kind of teach it about stuff, and it knows how to patch that stuff essentially, and it will automatically raise PRs for us to upgrade things.
Can I get you to share your screen again on it?
Yeah, I've got nothing really to show. Let me see if I've got some.
Looks better for the YouTube recording.
That's cool. We do have some workflows.
So you use that to keep like Argo workflows and stuff up to date?
Yeah, so this is looking at some of our. These are cron jobs that have run. That all it does is run Renovate every so often, and I don't know what this is going to say in here. Oh, won't say anything because it's old. Yeah. And so let me see if I can find something that I can show without showing anything.
Renovate says a lot of stuff when it's working, and very few of the bits actually tell you anything useful. So that's quite a lot of logs.
Yeah.
But this
You
requires you
need-
to always, sorry, this just
Continue,
requires you to
continue,
always
continue.
just want the current version, because what if I don't want to update every time there's a new version?
So you can configure it. It generates pull requests for you. So
Okay.
you can set it to auto merge on conditions, or you
Okay.
can just look at the pull requests and merge them manually. So it's up to you how you want it to do that part. But yeah, it generates
that thing, because we're super restricted here a lot of times with like automatic updates in our company.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
mostly just it as a tool to notify you that there is something that you might want to look at, and it's done all the hard work. So you just have a green button to say, yeah, I like that kind of thing. It's very handy.
So yeah, I mean, this isn't the best example. It's just the first example. So this is a Helm chart. It's identified that the Helm chart version's changed. It tells you the release notes of the change, so you can sit there and read it if that's the thing you're into. This particular change is just the version bump, so nothing particularly exciting in the actual code change. We have a tool that runs the helper bot that checks the values files of Helm charts. So if the content of the values file has changed, it patches that change in, so that we can see exactly what's going to change, basically exactly what the defaults are. It's very opinionated and very specific to us, I would say, but it's indicative of what you could do with Renovate if you spent the time with it, basically. Yeah, and as Adam said, we're the same. We don't auto merge anything here. So I wake up to a whole bunch of pull requests, and the CI tends to pass. I give it a once over and merge it in. That's essentially it.
Yeah.
And then Argo CD picks it up and does the rest.
That's cool.
But,
I know that's really helpful.
But yeah, Renovate it's not just Helm charts. We do versions of things in Docker files, for example, or Docker images in manifests. I can't think of anything else. Well, dependencies in things like Golang or stuff like that. Basically, anything that's got a version, especially if it's Sembird, you can teach it how to find the thing and treat that as a target to monitor. I don't know if I can show you the Renovate config file.
Kind of knows how to do a lot of things by itself, and then you can help it for things that it can't find. NPM packages and Docker images it's pretty good at. Sometimes you need to help it along with those.
Yeah, so there's a bit of, well, we're teaching about Argo workflows there in a specific customization, in a customization file. So that teaches it how to find the value, the current version, basically, in a release of Argo workflows, and then how to inject it in to raise a PR to make a change, essentially.
That's interesting.
In fact, well, that this previous one has a renovate.json file for exactly that same reason. So it's probably got the same thing in it. Yep, the same Argo workflows thing and some min.io stuff, because min.io don't believe in Semver. And so if we look at old pull requests, you'll probably find there'll be an Argo workflows. There you go. This was the pull request that updated that Argo workflows version. It found the customization file and changed the number for us.
Okay. Cool. Definitely have a look at this. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. It's a good little tool. It's like Dependabot, but good, essentially.
Yeah.
And not tied to being in GitHub. That's
Yes.
Dependabot's very GitHub oriented. You can run Renovate on your desktop if you want to, just manually renovate stuff.
So based on getting Renovate set up, how much time would you say on a weekly or monthly basis do you spend like maintaining Argo workflows? Between
Just
Renovate
Argo
and
workflows,
Argo
not
CD.
much.
This is to Tim and Alan.
Okay.
Not much. Argo Workflows doesn't get that many releases, and actually the releases in general are, like patch releases especially, are easy, they're trivial. I guess overall I'm doing quite a lot of Renovate based pull request reviews and stuff like that, but that's my job. So so I think that's fine, and it's better than, you know, at least there's a thing that has raised the PR, the CI has done whatever CI does, so the hard work's done. I just have to approve the things and merge them in. You know, it's glorified button pushing at this stage, really, but it's, yeah,
We've automated some bits of so Helm charts, their values.yaml gets updated in between releases, and we've done some automated merging of values YAMLs as well to help out with where upstream has changed their values YAML. We want that to come into our version of the values.yaml as well. It depends how much Helm you use, whether that made any sense, but
So that's interesting to hear that, you know, basically with the right like CI and Renovate, we can get our like production Argo Workflows deployment down to, I guess, like trivial amounts of maintenance.
It's trivial for two reasons though. It's two reasons. I might have just made that number up. It's definitely trivial because because we're on top of it, in the sense that because we take every release for everything quite quickly. So most changes for most things are trivial. I think the biggest problem we see with our customers is that they don't upgrade workflows enough, in my opinion. And so then they suddenly realize they need to upgrade because, I don't know, it's not compatible with this Kubernetes version, or they need a feature or something. And they're so far behind that they have to think about the upgrade and the impact that may cause and all that kind of stuff. I think that's the advantage of just kind of not waiting. Just take them little and often. You can always revert, you know, because we use Argo CD, you can just do a git revert and you're back where you started. And obviously we have good CI in place, and we have the possibility of going to pre-prod first and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure most companies have as well. So, you know, I think you just don't need to be quite as, if it's automated for you, you don't need to be as scared of it. You can just get on with it basically and kind of trust the process a little bit.
Do you feel like you can be a little bit more aggressive with the upgrades because the rollbacks are so easy?
Yeah, I don't really care in the nicest possible. You know, I put them in.
Our infrastructure guy, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. really selling Pipekit at the moment. But you know, some things have gone wrong in the past, but you know, we've got good enough alerting that we capture it pretty quickly, you know, usually within minutes of something going in. And as you know, it's a git revert away. Argo CD will pick it up like that. You know, you're back to a nice stable environment pretty quickly. I don't think I've burnt any clusters down for a while, so I think that's pretty good.
It's sort of been a bit of a policy of, you know, get good at fixing it when it's broken, because that's, if you're not good at that, then if it does break, it's it can be very panicky and take a long time to fix. So I mean, occasionally if you break Argo CD and it needs a manual reinstall, that's kind of fun, but otherwise yeah, if you manage to break the Vault integration with Argo CD, that's the funnest I think Tim and I have had. I used to do more infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Argo CD is probably the scariest one because it controls everything else, and it absolutely is possible. Ask me how I know, to delete an entire cluster's contents by accidentally trashing the Argo CD namespace or something like that. So, but you know, I've got recovery times down pretty quick. I think the last recovery time from that kind of accident was half an hour. Whole cluster down, so a whole cluster back within half an hour. And that's the kind of okay, that was a scary half an hour, but everything was in Git. It was safe, really. We lost half an hour of activity or whatever, or Darko managed, you know, he got an extra half an hour of lunchtime or something like that. So yeah, he wasn't complaining.
What's something you guys actually working on right now? Like, as somebody who doesn't look at the issues every day or something in GitHub, but what's actually one of the main features or things you work on right now?
I'm looking at improving metrics coming out of Argo Workflows. That's the most
Cool.
interesting thing, I think. Getting them more usable. Some of Tim's input on and some of my experiences with metrics, meaning that we might have a better idea than whoever wrote the original metrics. He just went, here's some numbers that seem to be useful. Yeah, being able to observe on a sort of more granular level what's happening with your workflows is and your workflow controller.
Nice.
In fact, I rewrote the Grafana dashboard this week for those metrics because the current one is quite old and slightly wrong in places. So if that's something you use, I'm happy to post a link here once I find it again.
Are you using Grafana metrics for Argo Workflows, Jonas?
No, I was just about to say we use just Grafana for like our application logs and stuff, but I'm always open for new ideas.
All right, Tim, if you could do a little screen sharing again.
I don't know if I've got it running. Let's have a look. Ooh, I do.
Okay, that's
There you go. Excuse me. These metrics themselves are a bit funny because I'm just looking at a random cluster here. But
yeah.
I mean, there is one out there already that's extremely similar to this. So I forked that and hopefully made all the numbers work. Yeah. As I said, it was good, but it was just old and hasn't kept up to date with where Argo Workflows has gone and where Grafana has gone. So just some of the graphs stopped working. So I don't want to take credit for the predecessor's work, but yeah, essentially we're getting some metrics straight out of the workflow controller here. So it just gives you a better insight into how things are going. So the nice magic numbers, status of your workflows. These are failures, the little peaks here. And then you kind of move down into how stressed is the controller itself. So this is all the various queues within the controller. So if you're doing big workloads, which we're not on this cluster, then you'll start to see stuff waiting around in queues and things like that. And that's a good thing to look into to try and understand where you're putting the strain on things. You can see how many pods are being triggered by Argo Workflows. Interestingly, you can see the pods stuck in pending and then how long they take to go from pending to running. And if that gap is quite wide, then you've probably got an auto-scaling problem or something like that there. So yeah, so it's just quite a high overview of just Argo Workflows itself. But obviously, if you combine that with looking at other aspects of your cluster, number of nodes or available memory on your nodes, or how happy your Kubernetes API is or something like that, then you start to get a good holistic view of how on fire your cluster is, basically.
Yeah, that's very cool. We have sometimes pipelines, sometimes it's hard to say why they're failing or anything, and then I look into it a bit more and I see that, I don't know, some resource issue. So this is very helpful, actually. I have never, really put much effort into metrics, but it might be time.
Yeah, we see it quite often with customers. Again, it's a thing that is considered late, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
And quite often, suddenly you put a graph in front of people and they can go, "Oh, we're only using 10% of all our nodes because we've, missized our workflow steps or something like that." And we can save an absolute fortune just by tuning this kind of stuff. But you can only do that when you can see, you can actually visualize these kind of problems, basically.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
All right, we are bumping up on time. Before we go, do you have any kind of final questions, Jonas, or anything that you'd be interested in seeing in future sessions?
But for now, I'm good. For you shared already a lot of new stuff again for me, so thanks first of all. No, I think this is really great. I wish there would be more people. I definitely will bring a colleague in who's also working with me on Argo at some point. It's super nice that you guys show also stuff. I think this is super helpful. I think we chatted about it, JP, that it's a great idea to actually show people and what the capabilities of Argo and Argo workflows. So I can just say keep on doing it. I'm just mad I didn't discover this earlier. It's very nice. And yeah, I hope you guys find more people joining in. That would be cool.
For sure. We appreciate it, Jonas. Good seeing you. And
Good seeing
if
you.
yeah, you need any links of like anything that we shared later in the week, feel free to like ping us on Slack and we're happy to like reshare.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend.
Have a good
You
one.
too.